What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Austin Nerd Show. Today we're looking at the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Clone Wars Walmart exclusive figures. So these figures are based off the Clone Wars series from 2003, so not the more 3D animation one, the 2D animation one made by Tarkovsky on Cartoon Network. So this was a show that aired in like 3-minute chunks, especially like the first couple seasons. And I remember watching them as a kid. I'd always try and catch them, they'd be like commercial breaks. And I actually have the DVDs of them that I can show you. So it's just a pretty cool series, very different look at the Clone Wars, and I believe they're no longer canon, but I thought the series was pretty cool. I like the artwork and just what happens, and of course a lot of the characters looked weird and everything, as you can see the artwork from the show here on the front. So in this wave here we've got Mace Windu, which looks cool, so it's Mace Windu, but he's got like some clone armor on. We have an ARC Trooper over here in red, which looks pretty awesome, and then General Grievous. So it's about like the General Grievous we've already had before, just different colors. He's more of like a bluish gray color, but still has the lightsabers and all that, and just look pretty cool. Like I said, I just love this cartoon when I was a kid, so just having these figures of now represented with the box design, with the Phase 1 Clone Trooper there on the side, the Clone Wars logo and stuff from the show. So just pretty cool overall. And then there's the look at the back. So we have the timeline for the 50 years of Lucasfilm, and then the artwork for the figures that they're based off of there. So just pretty cool figures overall that I'm just super excited about. I love the show so much, and just seeing these figures just brings me back to the time watching them. So I'm just really excited about this. But let me go and get these open and out of the box, and we'll take a look at them together. So we're starting off with the Mace Windu, and as I mentioned, this is from the 2003 Clone Wars series, the 2D animation one, made by Tarkovsky on Cartoon Network. And as I mentioned, I do have the DVDs of them. So I have Volume 1, which was Seasons 1 and 2, and then Volume 2, which was Season 3. So I do have these on DVD, which are pretty cool. I do like the show a lot, so when I saw them, I knew I had to buy them. I think we even paid more for them because it was hard to find them just anywhere else, so I had to go online and pay more for them, probably over 10 years ago now. So I just want to show that I do have the DVDs, so I've watched the show many times and really like it a lot. So getting figures from it is pretty cool, although they don't look exactly how they do from there. That's just what they took like inspiration from. So we have Mace Windu here, which looks just like our normal Mace Windu. Still has the face of what looks to be Samuel L. Jackson, although like the face printing and stuff seems to be a lot more shiny on this figure compared to his normal figure, which I'll show in a second. But he's supposed to be from the show, so he has the clone armor, so he has like the chest plate with the armor pieces on there. He's got the gauntlets on his hands, the belt around his waist. So that's just pretty cool overall that he has that combination of like the clone armor thrown in with his actual armor, similar to what we've had with Obi-Wan and Anakin before, that I'll show in a second. But overall looks pretty good. I do like this look a lot. I just wish the face was a little bit different, or like didn't have the Samuel L. Jackson face. I wish it was just some more generic sort of face to fit with the cartoon and everything. But overall still a nice looking figure. So here is that older version of him, so you can see the face is much more shinier on the new one compared to the older one, but otherwise, it is pretty much the exact same figure. They just took it, recolored it, and then put the clone sort of designs on it with the belt and armor and pieces. But otherwise, it is the exact same figure, just overall. And then as I mentioned, we already have the Obi-Wan and the Anakin, so here are those two forms there, where again, they have like their clone armor pieces on. So pretty nice to have these figures here all together. Of course, our Jedis with the clone armor and stuff from the Clone Wars series is awesome. But let's go and do his movements. So his head can twist all the way around. He'll look down that far and up that far. So not bad movements overall, but not the greatest. His shoulders can come up to 90, and it feels like there's a sort of butterfly joint, or it may just be a loose joint in there, but it moves back and forth. Of course, can rotate around within there. We get the single elbow joint that bends to about 90 and has the rotation, as well as the wrist can twist around and flex back and forth. We have the ab crunch in the middle at the waist, so it can crunch forward there and back there. So pretty decent crunching, but again, not too much. And then twist all the way around. Part of his tunic in the way, of course, his Jedi robe stuff, so it's going to be in the way, but you can move it out of the way there to get the leg up. It only comes up about that far. It can move up higher, as you can see, but there's just something with the legs like that sticking that won't allow it to stay up further there. I don't know what's going on there, but it can only go about 45 degrees, I guess. And then out to the side, we have the thigh twist all the way around, a double knee joint that can bend up that far to the back, so not too bad. And then, of course, we have the foot that can flex back and forth and twist side to side. So overall, the movements aren't that bad, but just some limitations that we kind of get with a lot of the Jedis especially. And then, of course, with the Mace Windu, we have to have his classic purple lightsaber. So we have his lightsaber here with his hilt. And it, of course, has the peg on it that you can put onto his belt. So he has the little whole piece there. So you can peg it on there if you want to pop the blade out and just put the hilt on his belt. But let's go ahead and just put the lightsaber in his hand. So there I got the lightsaber in his hand. And I'm just trying to move around the cloak just to sort of get it in certain ways and stuff. But again, it has just the cheap fabric. So it's a little bit too much and bulky and in the way and everything. So I can't really get it to like pose up that well, unfortunately. But it still looks pretty cool with getting the Mace Windu from the Clone Wars with that armor. Just looks super cool. And then we've got General Grievous, which to my knowledge was first introduced in this series. I don't remember him, at least from anything else. Probably he was in some books or something, but I believe this was the first time he was introduced. But he looks really cool here. But again, it looks, just like the normal General Grievous. Like I'll show you the older one here in a second. It does look exactly the same. Just once again, took the figure, repainted it, but they tried to give it more of the cartoon colors where it's got the like bluish gray inner pieces and then the white on the outside. And so if you look at the DVD, there's what he's more supposed to look like. So it doesn't look exactly the same, but obviously they didn't just remake a whole nother figure to do that. They just kind of took what they already had and recolored it to match the series. But I do sort of like it. That we have an issue with this figure of his legs, which is all sort of janky, I'll show, but I actually do like this sort of cape. Like it's not the most fabulous thing, like it just is the white sort of cloth material wrapped around him, but I think overall it fits and works much better than the other one did. So I do kind of like that sort of cloak. It's not as much as in the Wayne, but ours has an issue with its leg. So its right leg here is sort of like bent at like the upper leg piece is sort of bent here, and then it's been out again. I assume this is probably from the packaging, and so it's been out so the leg kind of goes off to the side, so it is pretty hard to get him to stand up. I mostly just have to get him stable with his left leg, and then the right leg just sort of leans to help him from falling over, so that sort of stinks, but at least he does stand up. I know with like the older figure I had a lot of issues just getting it to stand, but with the leg being all janky it doesn't really help. But as I mentioned, here is that older version of General Grievous, so like the more normal version as we see from episode 3, and again they just retook the same exact figure and repainted it to match more of the colors. And again, this older cape that's more bigger and bulkier and everything I don't like as much compared to this newer one. The one thing I do like though is that he does have those sections there to hold all the different lightsabers, but with this one in the show we don't really see him do that. But let's go do his movement. So his head there can twist side to side, so he has like different sort of neck joints, one lower down in and then one right at the top of the head, but the one that's twisting there is mostly the head one, and then it can look down that far. Again, this one's going mostly to lower neck and then up as well, and then if we lift the head piece it lifts up even further. So not the greatest movements overall, and it does feel really flimsy and like something could break super easily, but overall it does work and give you some movements. Then we can go to the shoulders, which are pretty weird and messed up. Since he has the double arms, it doesn't really work out too well. We have the shoulder joints that can come up there about 90, and then they can rotate around, but they're like super stiff. Like on this big bulky piece here where it's actually twisting is pretty stiff, so it's hard to get a lot of the movements in there. And then at the shoulder joints themselves, like if we separate the arms out, we do get more additional movements. So we can do this, and then you can see the arms do twist, the individual pieces do move around there as well. So you just get more additional movements, and of course they can move independently, so one can move out, one can stay in. So that's pretty nice. We do have some rotations in them as well. So we have rotations right at this joint, so it rotates there, as well as when it goes into the white piece. So we have that, and then we have the elbow joints, so it can move forward and bend out. And if you have it together, they do bend. It is a little bit hard to keep the hands together. That's one thing I had to fight so much just to get these arms back together, because all the pieces don't really line up exactly. So it is pretty difficult to get arms back connected, but I feel you just have to try and work and get them into the right positions, and then they'll just pop right back in. And then with that you can get them to bend forward, but they start to pop apart as you see there. So that's a little bit infuriating, and it's hard, like I said, to mess with and get them to stay together. Overall, you can see I've kind of worked at them to get them together as much as I can. Then we have like an ab crunch, so he has a crunch like down in his waist section here, so you can see crunch forward there and crunch back a little bit, but mostly there, and then can twist around there as well. Then we get the hips that can come up to 90 out to the side of the far, so the hips do have some movements in there, so sort of like a little twist. Then we get the knee joints, which we have an upper knee joint that can bend up that far, and then the lower knee joint as well that can bend back and forth, so you can move them sort of weird and independently. But like I said, with the legs being bent up, they don't kind of work out too well. But then we have like the leg joint there like animals have, so it moves back and forth, and then we get the ankle joint that can rock back and forth and then twist around there as well. But like I said, unfortunately, because of the messed up leg on here, it is really hard to get him to stand up. And of course, what's really cool about General Grievous is that he has the 4 lightsabers. So of course he has the 4 different hands that can separate out, or the 2 hands that separate into 2 more, and then can hold all the different lightsabers and stuff. So we just have like these generic handle sort of lightsabers that we can put into his hands. So let me see if I can get him in his hands and him sort of like posed around. So there I got the lightsabers in his hands, and that looks pretty cool. I was quite surprised. I thought the hands would be like a little bit too loose and hard to hold the lightsabers, but they actually have really tight grips on him, and then getting his arms to move around. The only thing real difficult is with the additional weight and distribution and stuff is getting him to stand up, but I got him to stand as much as I could, and that looks pretty cool with the additional lightsabers and all that. Just really cool overall here for this General Grievous figure is really cool. And our final figure for the wave is the ARC Trooper, which this one specifically seems to be Captain Fordo. And ARC Troopers just tend to be elite clone troopers, so they tend to be more of the leaders. Say like Captain Rex or Captain Cody and Echo, all those sort of higher up troopers tend to be ARC Troopers. And so that's exactly what he is here. And like I said, by looking up from the movie, he is Captain Fordo, which looks pretty cool. So he has the Phase 1 armor, so he has the Phase 1 helmet, but I like the red details, so it's almost like he belongs in like the shock troopers with all the red. But overall, just looks really nice. I like with the armor padding, so he's got the polar pieces with the red on one side, the like gray on the other. Of course, his helmet with the red and the red stripe, and then the red going down on his arms, and then the skirting pieces with the darker bluish gray with the red outline around it. Just looks really cool. So I just all the features of like the ARC Troopers that I like so much, and even has like a backpack piece on the back with some different stuff. I've never really seen these on figures, so I don't know what they do, but it is really cool that they included even that piece in on there. So that's just awesome. So as I said, he's got the helmet, even has like the viewfinder sort of piece there, and it just moves around there. As you can see, even weird, like on his arm, he has the vambrace, so much like the Mandalorians and stuff has vambrace with like a little missile launcher and stuff on there, which is cool in the red. Like I said, he has like the captain sort of like skirting material, and then there's the normal sort of clone legs going down there. So just a very nice looking figure. I like all the features and stuff put on him, and just looks so nice here. Now for his movements, his head can twist all the way around. He can look down that far and up that far, so very little movements in the neck, unfortunately. Shoulders can come up, and they do have the softer shoulder pads that can like get out of the way, but because of the shoulder patterns, it doesn't allow it to get out of the way, so you can only go up about that far, unfortunately. And it does have a butterfly joint there, and of course can rotate around within there as well. But he has the single elbow joint that bends just to 90 there, and it has the rotation, as well as the wrist can twist around and flex up and down for this hand. In the middle, we have the ab crunch, so crunch forward and crunch back, so really good crunching twist around there as well. And then the hips can come up, and it's hard with the skirting and all the straps, but it can, if you start to sort of twist out, can get at least to 45 there, and then out to the side a little bit as well. Of course, there's that thigh twist, the single knee joint that bends to 90 with the rotation, and then the foot flexes back and forth and twists side to side. So relatively overall, it's just your standard clone trooper, nothing too fancy like movement wise. He just has all the additional features on him and to give him that look from the Clone Wars series. Now with him being a clone trooper, we get a lot of the same gun accessories with him, but with him being an ARC Trooper, we're going to get the DC-17 blaster pistols. So these look pretty cool. Of course, the pistols that all like the sort of leaders have. So those are awesome that we can take and put into his holsters. So there they are in the holsters on each side of his legs. And then he comes with the other blasters. So first we get the DC-15S blaster carbine, so just their standard little blaster gun, as well as the DC-15A blaster rifle, so the longer rifle piece. So obviously you can switch and mix and match whatever sort of guns you want into his hands and everything. But with him being an ARC Trooper, I kind of want the pistols in his hands, so let me go and put those in. So there I got him with the pistols in his hands, which look pretty cool. And of course, didn't know exactly what troopers or anything to throw in here with him, since obviously we have like Captain Rex and stuff that have pretty similar outfit design, but we decided just to bring in a Phase 1 clone trooper with the red stripes as well, so almost like it would be serving under him. So throw him in there as well. I think that looks pretty cool with both of the Phase 1 clone troopers there together. But of course, just this ARC Trooper itself is really cool. So it'd be awesome if we would have got the blue one as well, like they did in the Vintage Collection versions. Get the blue one as well, would have been awesome to throw in here with him. But unfortunately, they only made the red one for the Black Series size. So, but pretty cool figure overall. I just love this clone trooper a lot. Well, there's our wave of the Walmart exclusive Star Wars Black Series Clone Wars figures, where we got Mace Windu, the ARC Trooper, and General Grievous as from that 2003 Clone Wars cartoon. So pretty cool wave overall. Like I said, I wish they would have maybe switched them up, did new molds and stuff to make them look more like they did from that show. But just taking the figures they already have existing and redoing them to match the looks is good enough, I guess, for me. I just wish they put a little bit more effort into these, but reuse is always the game for toy companies. But let me know what you thought of these figures down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know with a thumbs up. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.